welcome to Let's Talk Diz, a show that gives everything you know to help make your Disney vacation as magical as can be in just about 20 minutes. I'm your host, Jeff Coviello. With me each week is Disney Master Sandy from Easy Diz by Instant Impressions Travel Services. Sandy, how are you this week?
I'm doing great. How about you?
Oh, I'm good. Tonight I'm very, very excited because, you know, some people, they like to drink around the world while others eat around the world. And tonight is about how you can fuel yourself with all the food options, snacks and quick service, and maybe even some sit down, just all sorts of food options in the experimental prototype community of tomorrow that we've come to know as EPCOT.
You know, it's interesting. When we talked about this episode, I was like, yeah, that sounds great. I can't wait. And then I started to kind of chicken scratch out my notes. And I came to a realization that kind of went hand in hand with a question that I was asked by one of my team members this week, which is my favorite park? And I said to her, you know, I'm going to say it's EPCOT. And I lean towards EPCOT because it's where I spend the most time. And I spend the most time there because I love the festivals and we're always covering the festivals.
Yeah.
So by default, EPCOT is really where my time is spent. But then I thought about this more, and I will tell you that I'm always snacking in EPCOT.
Right.
But the reality is I am rarely snacking in the true EPCOT because I'm eating at festival booths or I'm eating at sit-down dining. So I'm not going to have a lot of snacks for you here. I've got some that I'm going to talk about, but you tend to do a lot more of the true snacking than I do. So we're going to put this together. We're going to name some of our favorites. If you're listening and we left out one of yours, send us a little tweet and let us know what it is, and we'll add it on into our recommendations.
Well, and I think that your statement there is true in the sense that not only does somebody in your team ask you that, these are questions that I get asked all the time, right? You and I have said many, many times, Disney World is not just chicken fingers and French fries and cheeseburgers. Like that's not what this is, right? So in EPCOT, more than any place probably on property, EPCOT is the easiest place for you to have meals that are not chicken fingers and French fries and cheeseburgers. Not that there's not a place for that, and not that you can't find that there, but it's not really what we're going to talk about tonight, right? So some of it will be snacks, some of it will be quick service stuff, some of it will be inside restaurants. So we're going to kind of give you a little bit of everything, just because I get asked the question, like, where's your favorite place to eat in EPCOT?
And my sweet tooth is going to show tonight, let me tell you.
That's good. That's good. So I kind of wanted to start with the non-world showcase. Like, we'll just put that in like one big umbrella. And for me, I'm going to lead off here. I love Sunshine Seasons down in the Land Pavilion. I've always loved it. It's such a unique spot for you to grab some food. It's got a million different options. There's like stations, like old school cafeteria style, from, you know, roasted chicken to Mongolian beef and sandwiches and tacos, and, you know, there's desserts, there's drinks, there's anything you can go for inside of the Land Pavilion at Sunshine Seasons. That's one of my favorite places to go.
And I end up in there at the dessert spot. They have a turtle brownie that is awesome. But the other thing is, we've done a series of shows on holidays only at Walt Disney World.
Yep.
All these things that they make up or have now become those little hallmark moments, you know, National Princess Week and Island Pacific Week and Beach Day and all these other things. And we've talked about how Disney puts out a snack menu for all of them. Mm-hmm. Usually 3 to 20 snacks, depending on the holiday. And that dessert spot at Sunshine Seasons is where you can get all those specialty seasonal snacks. So if you're a regular at EPCOT and you're just always looking to try something new, check out what they've got over at the desserts. Usually whatever the specialty dessert is will have a little display sign right on top of the case so you can see the picture, know the cost. I find that a lot of their specialty desserts are not in the display case because the display case is not refrigerated, is my guess. And so the specialties are often in a refrigerator behind the counter that you don't see. But try that for some awesome treats.
Love it. All right. So we're gonna hit the World Showcase, and we're gonna go from right to left because this first place is where my daughter loves to eat the most. But we're gonna start with Canada and kind of make our way around. So when you're in Canada, what's the must stop for you in Canada?
So it's not a must stop for me, but many of my clients want to know why that popcorn stop isn't my must stop.
Okay.
Um, they've got usually a maple popcorn that's unique. And again, you can refill your popcorn bucket there with specialty popcorns. We do end up in Le Cellier when we have time. They have to die for their mascarpone mashed potatoes. And if you've got a child with you, their chocolate mousse with maple leaf antlers is a favorite of ours.
That's delicious. And our mine is also in Le Cellier too. It's that cheddar cheese beer soup. I mean, it's just unbelievable. And when it's the festival time, we were actually over there this year for the Flower and Garden Festival, and it wasn't there in the Canadian booth, and I thought my daughter was actually going to cry. So when you get there and you see the cheddar cheese soup in a festival booth, grab it. If not, and you have a hankering for it, you can go inside to the steakhouse and grab it. It's a little bit more expensive, a little bit of a bigger portion, but
yes,
just unbelievable.
And had this been 15 years ago, I would have said to you, we go there for the pretzel bread.
Right.
I don't think there was pretzel bread anywhere 15 years ago. Now every supermarket and everywhere has it, but theirs is still nice and warm and awesome. So add it on.
So when we go past the rest in peace off kilter stage and we head towards the United Kingdom,
have to get me all
pavilion,
the time, don't you?
Every time, man, every time. I like to stop, and this is a mixed bag with my family because my family isn't necessarily into this all the time, but I like to stop and grab the fish and chips over there by the water, and you can kind of walk down depending upon the time of the day. If the sun is setting, it's a kind of a cooler place to sit as they're getting ready for their evening stuff. You get the fish and chips in the it's very, very greasy, right?
But I think you've shared that secret with too many people because when I went by last time, I was there for Flower and Garden, and they were blocking the Tinkerbell flower display. There had to be
there were so many people,
40 people in line there. I was like, wow.
Listen, you grab your fish and chips, you grab yourself a nice beer at a Rose and Crown, and there's not many better places to be than EPCOT on a nice cool evening with those couple of things going on. So that's definitely my go-to in the UK.
And I will say, with Off Kilter gone, stop into Rose and Crown. The music is always a fun time in there.
Yeah, it's a good spot. It's a cool spot. And one of the places, we'll talk a little bit about that when we break into maybe some drinking around the world too. There's a lot of fun stuff that you can grab there as far as beers and stuff, which is right in my wheelhouse. But we go over that footbridge there and over some water, and we end up in France. What do you like to have in France? Well, what don't you like to have in France, I guess? But let's choose.
I was going to say that one is just so popular, and it kind of has two different sections to it now. So over by Remy is the new crepe place that has a window as well as a sit down. And sweet and savory crepes, I could eat there all day long without any problem. But also, they've got some amazing ice cream in there. And if you go back into the bakery, their baked goods, I mean, bread and cheese in France. Let's see. Can't go wrong there. Lots of great options in their bakery to snack on or make lunch out of. It's always a hard choice from me. I will say sometimes I end up with an extra that becomes breakfast the next day.
Well, we won't hate you on that, but I when I parade around there, the macaron sandwich as a snack, it's like it shouldn't be called a snack because it's just too delicious, right? So as you're passing by there, you got a couple of different options there in France, both kind of sweet, unless you're going to get the savory crepe, but you really kind of can't beat it. France has so many different fun options that you can kind of choose from that, you really kind of can't go wrong there. But we segue over into kind of like what's a no man's land right now, and the artist formerly known as Morocco. And we used to love the quick service that was over there in Morocco. But when you and I were talking, you had said that they changed over to something very deliberate over there. What is there in that quick service spot, as the moment that we're recording now?
It does occasionally call to me. Sangria in the suck. Come on, how can you not?
Not bad. Not bad, right? You got to go find the sangria. I liked the Spice Road Tavern too, where you can go grab a drink and some like small bites too, right?
And a great location if you time it well for fireworks.
But because of all the uncertainty, we'll say, going on with Morocco's partnership in EPCOT, certainly not a spot that you can kind of count on getting some bites at. So let's segue over to Japan. Japan is a place where it's so iconic to look at as you're walking around the World Showcase, and you see that big architecture that where they're banging on the drums and things like that. And I'm a big sushi guy, so if you walk into the restaurant there and you get the hashi for 2 or 4, the big sushi boat, it's $100, and it comes in the fantastic presentation with all the sushi you could eat. Man, that is just amazing. You can't get any better for my money. I know you're not a sushi gal, so but for me, that's a great spot to hit.
I am not, but they've got a little stand there that has some shaved ice drinks that are amazing. You can go for that family version, or as I like to call it, the mommy juice version. It is definitely refreshing and a sanity saver.
So now we make our way over to Sweet Land of Liberty. We're in the American Pavilion, and there's nothing more American to me than the item I'm going to give to you, which is the sliced Texas beef brisket sandwich. That's right. The sliced Texas beef brisket sandwich just screams red, white, and blue for everybody. It is. You can smell the smoked meat as you're walking by the American Pavilion. It is Americana through and through, and it is a sandwich you will absolutely not forget.
The Regal Eagle, I mean, come on, what is more American than the Muppets?
Nothing. It's a glorious 3 hour
Probably
finale.
the only thing more fake American, and this is not my cup of tea either, but a favorite. Out in front of the Regal Eagle, you can get a turkey leg.
Yeah, turkey leg. It's definitely American in its size of what you can walk away with a meat on a bone, right? But I'm not quite sure how authentic it is to American cuisine.
I have to wonder how many non-US visitors to Disney, if that's one of those things that they take a picture of somebody walking around gnawing on this thing, they take it back to their country, and that is the picture that they share of this is what Americans do.
This is what Americans eat. It's just a big smoked turkey leg.
They walk around chomping on this thing
with a shirt that
but
says
hey,
"I'm with stupid." That's fine.
If you love it, it's perfect.
Listen, it's certainly iconic, right? But so we continued down our little path here, and we end up in Italy, which is just the home of.
Wait, it's like France. It's bread and cheese. Yes, my favorites.
Cheese, more cheese, all that stuff. Yes, of course.
I was very happy. If you have not been to Tutu Gusto, no, I am not confusing the name. Years ago, they sectioned off a small bit of Tutu Italia because it wasn't filling, and they made Tutu Gusto the wine cellar. The two restaurants are attached, but you can usually get in and out of Tutu Gusto easier and quicker. And they make a custom select cheese platter. So you're selecting your own cheeses and lots of great crusty bread and breadsticks to go with it. It is the perfect leper, as I like to call it, that late afternoon lunch dinner combo of cheese.
Are you the smellier the cheese, the better the cheese type of gal, or do you discriminate based on scent?
No, I don't. There are very few that turn me off. I'm not a yellow cheese person, funny enough.
So Italy's your jam then.
White, creamy. I'll do a blue cheese. My family sometimes looks at me. They're like, "Really?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, bring it
No,
on."
I'm with you. I'm with you there. No.
They could make their menu a little bit more to my liking if they had fried goat cheese, but
Ooh,
that's always a favorite. That was just at one of the festival stands, like
nice.
amazing.
Nice.
Cheese and fried, again, winning combo.
Well, now that's American, if we've ever heard of one. Mine in Italy is Gelateria Toscana. Uh, as somebody who's walked the streets in Rome and in Venice and in Florence and et cetera, gelato is just one of those things that once you've had it, you just need it. So
You need it.
it's not quite what I would have in Italy, but it's really, really good, and I
And
recommend
if you
it.
haven't been to Epcot in years and you're wondering why Jeff is making up this cart, he's not. I don't know how this happened, but all of a sudden one day there was a new building
There
and
was,
it's the
yes,
gelato.
yep, it's a
And
gelateria, just
excellent.
out of the blue, just popped up from the ground up. It's the Italian
And
way.
plan well, have somebody online to get into, depending on what season you're there, whatever concert is that night. It's not that far away. They can stand online while you're waiting to get in. You can go grab gelato for everybody.
That's a great tip.
Perfect.
That's a great tip. For those that don't know me, I have Italian and German blood. So to go right from the Italian pavilion over to the German pavilion, after I've had my gelato, I clearly need a jumbo pretzel. I mean, that's
That is my favorite there too. It is hard not to grab one as you see them hanging in the cart as you walk by. It just kind of calls my name.
well, and I mean, obviously, typically when I'm in Germany, I'm having a pretzel. I'm also having a beer. We're not going to necessarily talk about the
No, a
drinks
beer with your
tonight.
pretzel? No
But
way.
that I have been known to have that from time to time. Yes, that has been a thing that we have done there in Germany. Good spot though. A lot of fun stuff over there in Germany. They have the brats and stuff like that, but I find the pretzel to be the most accessible. So as we segue over to China, China is an interesting one in the sense that there's a bunch of stuff that you can have there. I like to go with the pork egg rolls just as a snack because it's just so accessible. It's easy. You can grab it. You can walk with it. It's delicious. It's, as somebody who lives just like you in the Northeast, we have no shortage of good Chinese food here in New Jersey, but the egg rolls in Epcot in China are excellent.
And I will say one of our favorite snacks that I miss, it's not there. I'm hoping it comes back soon. In the Lotus House was the custom cotton candy.
I never
A
had that.
true work of art to watch him. You could pick whether you wanted your cotton candy as a flower, and there were different sizes and shapes of flowers, and he did hearts, and it was all different colors and rainbow, and just artistry and perfection, and a little bit of a sugar rush. But as long as you share it, it wasn't too bad.
I was going to say
So
a
hopefully
little
we'll
bit.
see them back soon.
Oh, I never heard anybody say cotton candy's a little bit of a sugar rush, but I guess if you do share it, then yes, that's fine. This one I struggled with a little bit as we get over to Norway, and you mentioned something when we had talked off air that I was like, yeah, that makes total sense. Talk about where you had a spot in Norway of what you wanted to nosh on.
I usually head to Werther's, which is actually a order ahead in your app. I like their caramel cookie dough cup.
Mm.
It is awesome. They also, again, one of the nice things about mobile ordering is you can check out their menu without standing there and being inside and figuring it out. They often have some kind of special frozen themed treat, be it a cupcake or something like that. And then they also do candied apples. And while I'm not a big candy apple eater, I really just seeing all of the different designs and the artistry and watching them make them, I always find so interesting.
Yeah, they're very cool to look at. Very, very, artistic is the right word. I'm glad you used it because it's definitely an art. The one that I had was rice cream, which is essentially rice pudding with a strawberry sauce. It is a snack, so if you're kind of looking for something a little bit sweet that you can kind of walk with, that's kind of what we had. But like I said, Norway was a struggle for me. It's not a spot that we've spent a significant amount of time eating in. I have to say, out of any of the pavilions, and maybe it's something I should expand my horizons on, but That's definitely the one we've spent the least amount of time eating in. I don't know if that applies to you too.
Well, I think it doesn't have a quick service. It's more limited in its offerings, so it
Right.
kind of makes sense that there's not a lot that we've eaten there. But of course, we can all pretty much say we've been to, debate how you pronounce it. I say Akashers, and dined with the princesses.
Yeah. I just don't
But
say it
I've
at
been to
all.
the real Norway, so I don't need to be in this one.
That's fair. That's fair. Well, from limited options to just a plethora of options, where we round out our World Showcase travels here in Mexico. Mexico for me, you could drop me at the Mexican Pavilion any day, at any time, and I would find something to eat without a problem. And that's maybe not because I've had a frozen margarita with it, but I will be able to have anything in Mexico. For me, you go right over there. The nachos are they're just a home run, right? The meat is good, the cheese is good, the jalapenos are good. I love that. I don't know if you love the heat, but it's a win. It's a nice snack. It's a little bit bigger than a snack. You're probably paying for it as a meal, but it's a snack if you're splitting it in the middle of the day as you are just parading around the World Showcase. For me, the nachos are the way to go in Mexico.
I wish they would sell the chips and salsa that is like the free appetizer. You're insides, you're out of the heat, you're out of the rain, you're watching all those boats excited to go see Donald on their ride.
Yeah, the caballeros. Love it.
I could, if that bowl of chips could be like my spot. But if I'm outside, they also have a lot of different churros there usually. So that's, again, my little sweet tooth where I grab a little treat. Because why not start with dessert, even if it's only 11 in the morning?
Listen, no judgments here. We've all said this. The calories are they don't count once you're into the Disney property. So these are just a couple options that we've given folks in a non-festival setting, essentially, right? So like we've talked a lot about festival food. We've talked a lot about festival eating and drinking. This is your little preview for if you're just going on a random day and you don't happen to hit a festival. If you're there for the however many days a year it is that they don't have a festival.
Well, and I was just going to say, now that we're in 2025, we're kind of back where we were 6 years ago. There are actually some non-festival times, because there is a little bit more of a break between the festivals, with the exception of Festival of the Arts running right into Flower and Garden. So it's good to know there's treats all around.
All over, all different times of year.
We guarantee you won't go hungry.
I love it.
And a majority of the items we talked about are good with your snack credit if you're on the meal plan. And as long as we're talking meal plan real quick, I'll just give a plug. If you're planning for 2026 and you're looking at that caramel cookie dough, that egg roll, the pretzel, those are all snack credits on the meal plan. And if you've got a 3 to 9 year old in 2026, their meal plan is free with all the adults in the room purchasing the meal plan. So snack and free, words that we love together.
Well, and that'll be for another time as we get towards 2026. I'm sure we'll have to revisit some best way to use your snack credit show and figure it out from there. But I appreciate you indulging me this evening, as this is a topic that I've definitely wanted to talk about for a while because it's near and dear to my stomach. I mean heart. And I hope you have a great week this week.
Go grab a snack and enjoy.
That's a wrap this week on Let's Talk Diz. If anyone you know could benefit from this or any show, please share, have them like, and subscribe. And don't forget to reach out to the folks at Easy Diz by Instant Impressions Travel Services for any Disney destination planning. Make it a great week, and as always, keep making memories.